Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with chocolate sour cream bundt cake. That's right, this is as close as many of you will get to eating a giant chocolate donut. And of course, this is the chocolate cake that was seen in the creme anglaise video, which generated so many requests. And as far as chocolate cake recipes go, this is so foolproof, so unbelievably simple, that if you screw this up, you should never bake anything again. All right, so for step one, we're going to get our dry ingredients together. You know those. They're the ingredients that aren't wet. We have some flour, just regular white all-purpose flour, some white sugar, and then some baking soda, not powder, soda. And we're going to take a whisk, and we're going to whisk that for about 30 seconds to a minute, or until thoroughly combined. And then we're going to set that aside while we prep our wet ingredients, which is basically going to look like hot chocolate. So over on the stove, I have a heavy bottom saucepan. We're going to place that over medium heat. I have 2 sticks of butter. By the way, the reason one's yellower than the other, those cows ate more grass. So I did use 2 different brands of butter just because that's what I had. I'm also going to add some unsweetened cocoa, some water, just regular cold water, and some salt. And what we're going to do is we're going to stir this over medium heat until everything is dissolved. And you're basically going to have what looks like a pot of very, very rich hot chocolate. And do yourself a favor, don't use a spatula. So I just grabbed this because it was closer, and then I totally regretted it. Eventually I surrendered and went and got a whisk. So very, very simple. Just keep stirring over medium heat until it starts to steam and everything is melted, and it looks like that. And at that point, we're going to mix it into our dry ingredients. So I want you to make a little well in the center. I want you to pour in about half and start to give that a nice, slow, careful stir. And I like to do half at a time here so it doesn't splash all over, because that will happen if you try to dump all this in at once. And the batter's going to tell you when to add the other half because it will get really hard to stir. And that's just the batter telling you, dude, put the rest in. So we're going to dump the other half of the chocolate mixture in there, and we're going to stir that till combined. It's only going to take like a minute. All right, one of the nice things about this recipe is it requires no electric mixers or anything like that. So a very, very simple procedure. All right, once all that's mixed in, we're going to add 2 eggs, one at a time. So plop an egg in, bust that yolk with the whisk, give it a mix. When that disappears, go ahead and mix the other one in. And you'll notice I'm transferring those into the batter from a ramekin, which is a nice trick because if you get a little shell in there, you can pick it out without trying to pick shell out of your batter. So I'm going to stir in that second egg. We're going to go ahead and put in a splash of vanilla extract and our sour cream. And I'm actually using a Mexican sour cream called crema, which I had left over from another recipe, which worked beautifully. But just regular sour cream works, creme fraiche works. Really any dairy I think would work here. Cream, milk, buttermilk, stuff like that. All right, so we're going to mix that well. And once that's mixed in, your batter is done. So at that point, we're going to spray a silicone bundt pan with some nonstick vegetable spray. I'm using silicone. You could use metal. Works just about the same. By the way, some people like to use melted butter here and a little bit of flour. I just use the spray, but suit yourself. You are the boss of your bundt buttering and or greasing, okay? Once that's greased up, we're going to pour in our batter. And by the way, is it just me or is that thing in the middle kind of crooked? I'm not sure what that centerpiece is called. Is that the bundt pylon? Is it the bundt buoy? So I'm not sure what that's called, but it wasn't a problem. So we're going to pour that batter in. We're going to give it the old tappa to settle that down before we put it in a preheated 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes or until it looks like that and a bamboo skewer comes out clean. And that one did. So what we want to do is let that cool for 15 minutes in the pan and then invert that onto a wire rack to cool all the way before we drizzle on our chocolate ganache, which is the next step, which is so incredibly simple. And you've seen this before. We've done this many times. You simply take some chopped up chocolate, you pour over some boiling heavy cream, you let it sit there for about a minute, and then you slowly stir it with a whisk. And man, does it look ugly when you start. And you're thinking, somehow I screwed this up. Why did I listen to that Chef John guy? But then you realize, wait, it's coming together. So if you just keep stirring, it will turn into this beautiful, thick, shiny, glossy ganache. And there you go. That looks pretty awesome. So that's done, and we have to work with that while it's still liquefied. So we're going to go back over to our cake, which should be cool enough to frost by now. And we're going to take a spoon, and we're going to start drizzling and or spreading that chocolate ganache all over. Some people just like a few little measly drizzles. Other people like it completely coated. All right, I'm one of those people. So I like to really give it a nice thick coating. And then after it's completely coated, I'll go around and drizzle even more on. And once your ganache is applied, all you need to do is wait for that to firm up, which shouldn't take that long. That would happen very quickly in the refrigerator if you want to refrigerate this, but even out at room temperature, probably a half hour and you'd be ready to slice. And then you probably have figured out the rest. Cut yourself a nice big hunk, throw it on a plate, possibly with some orange creme anglaise sauce, possibly with just some vanilla ice cream, possibly as is. And that is one sexy slice of cake, if I do say so myself. And let me tell you, for such a dead simple technique, just absolutely foolproof, kind of dense and moist without being heavy, just the right amount of sponginess, very chocolatey, not too sweet, has that little bit of subtle tang from the sour cream. It really is a fantastic chocolate cake recipe. And like I said, I got so many requests for this after the creme anglaise video. And of course, by requests, I mean threats, intimidation, extortion, and other strong-arm tactics. Although in this case, it was appropriate, so thank you. So I really do hope you give this a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.